Hello. On this edition of Commuter Connections, we'll speak with newly appointed MTA Administrator Paul Comfort about MTA service and his vision for transit in Maryland. MTA is the winner of a prestigious Transit Safety Award. We'll show you. And we've got MTA's new rodeo rail champion, all right here.
MTA TV, the recipient of a 2015 Telly Award for Television Excellence.
I'm Anthony Brown. Welcome to Commuter Connections. When you hear MTA, for many, local bus, light rail, metro, and mobility paratransit in the Baltimore region come to mind. But MTA service and its reach spans far beyond the immediate Baltimore area to points throughout the state. Keeping transit moving reliably for all of Maryland is a huge responsibility, one the new MTA Administrator Paul Comfort assumes daily. Mr. Comfort joins us today to talk about a number of exciting things, including his vision for transit in the state. Mr. Administrator, welcome to Commuter Connections.
Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it.
In this new role as MTA Administrator, how long have you been in the position?
About 2 months.
2 months,
Yeah.
Coming from most recently?
The last 5 years I've worked down in the D.C. metro area working for Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority.
Okay, great. And
as
what
a
did you do
contractor.
specifically there?
So for there I worked at as a private contractor overseeing their mobility operations. So we had a $100 million budget and 600 vans, and we picked up 10,000 people with disabilities a day and made sure they got to their appointments on time and safely.
Okay, all right, so MTA Administrator for 2 months. How's the transition been?
It's been awesome. I'm really enjoying this job. I've had my eye on this job for over a decade.
Okay.
When Ehrlich got appointed, there was some talk to me about possibly appointing me, but instead I went into managing county governments around the state for the last few years. So my career has been primarily in transportation and government, so this is a good mix of the two.
All right, great. How does the MTA, in your opinion, rank among the region's transit agencies?
You know, we're not as good as we need to be. I think
Okay.
we have a lot of great people working here. The MTA has 3,300 employees and probably over 1,000 contract employees in the mobility operations, et cetera. And most of these people are good, hardworking people who aren't just here for a paycheck. They're here for a mission like I am, which is to improve our service and make it great. But we still don't have the results that I'm satisfied with, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, later.
And what would those results be? What would be the traits of a good transit agency?
Oh, that's perfect. They are the 4 North Stars, which I've put in place at the MTA over the last 2 months, which is a good transit agency is number 1, safe.
Okay.
And that means not just what people think about safety, police presence, et cetera, but reduction in accidents and the perception of safety, that people feel safe in riding the service. Then it's efficient. Efficient means it's cost effective. It means we don't have routes running where nobody's riding. It means that the routes that we have, we are getting return on the fare box like we should, et cetera. So efficiency is key. It also means passengers per hour. Productivity is in paratransit is key to making sure that you're making sure you're putting people on as they should be and routing the routes correctly to pick people up in the right order. And then it is reliable.
Okay.
One of the great discredits, so to speak, to our public bus service here, which transport 2/3 of the people, is people constantly tell me the bus is late. Yeah. I've been out riding the bus myself. I rode it on Friday, and the bus was 8 minutes late to the bus stop. Wow. That's unacceptable. And I've made it a personal mission to improve that. And we have made some improvements pretty rapidly over the last 2 months. When I got here in the middle of May, on-time performance for public bus was in the 70 percentile range, 72, 75. We're up to 84, 85% a day right now. Mobility was in the mid-80s, and now it's 94, 95% on time every day. We've made some changes already, but there's many more changes to come to make the service even better.
That's great.
And then finally, my last point is it's safe, efficient, reliable with world-class customer service. I want the people to feel great about riding our service, and it's enjoyable and fun and different and unique. And we don't want people to think about public transit as something they just have to do. I want to be the choice for people who have other options.
I appreciated the one statistic you shared. 2/3 of the people ride local bus service.
That's right. We have 380,000 people a day that we transport, and 2/3 of them are on the public bus service.
Because we often hear the rail services and efficiency and on time, but it sounds like bus service is important to you also.
Baltimore is a bus town when it comes to public transit right now. D.C. is a rail town, as you know. All the lines there. We have one rail line, and a couple light rail lines, and then we have MARC. But really, most of the people ride the public bus service.
That's great. In my introduction, I talked about the MTA being a regional service. We
Yes,
think
it is.
Baltimore and buses and light rail, but it's the entire state.
It is. In addition to the core bus service we've talked about and rail and light rail, we also have the MARC commuter trains, which come in from Western Maryland and Northeast Maryland, go into the D.C. market. Obviously, the big thing that people are talking about now is the Purple Line.
Yes.
That's going to be light rail in the D.C. market, not the Baltimore market. I was down in Annapolis yesterday with the secretary who was talking about that. And then we also have commuter bus service, which comes from the Eastern Shore. A lot of it comes from Southern Maryland, where I spent some of the last 5 years managing a county government down there. And so it's statewide, and we have $100 million that get distributed, some to every county in Maryland, to help them with their own local bus service, like Howard Transit, and Connect a Ride and Laurel and places like that.
It is indeed a statewide system.
Yes.
We've got to close, but you mentioned the MTA employees, 3,400 employees. They're vital to your operation.
They are, and they're the core of what we're doing. And so I'm working to make sure that we recognize and honor the best of the best, and I'm working to work on making sure that everyone understands that they're accountable, and that we're going to put into place measurements, and we're going to manage what we're measuring.
Oh, that's great. Sounds like you've got a daunting task, but you seem to be ready for it.
Got a great team. I'm looking forward to continuing to work to improve transit for Baltimore and the state.
Thanks for joining us today. It takes a lot of hard-working, dedicated transit professionals to keep trains and buses running reliably each day. On this edition of the program, we introduce you to a special member of the MTA team who works within the bus division.
Say hello to Courtney Young, one of MTA's most enthusiastic bus operators. After only 3 years of driving our buses, he has worked nearly every route, experiencing the joys and troubles of operating.
I'm a people person, so I get to drive to various locations, meet different people all the time. I learned a long time ago that you're not going to satisfy everybody. So every now and then you're going to have people that are going to complain because the bus is not on time. A lot of times things happen, buses break down. You could have unruly people sometimes, but mainly because it might be the mechanics of the bus. Things happen. I don't get upset about that. I just like driving.
Many riders don't know that Courtney is bursting with talent as an artist and a comedian. When he's not creating masterpieces for special events or illustrating for children's books, Courtney gets on stage to share his other gift.
I love hosting. I love being a radio host because you get to inform people. I just did a show with Walter Beasley, international jazz saxophonist, along with Chelsea Green and the Green Project, and they were phenomenal. It was a sold-out show, and I had a blast. People ask you to come out and just stand out there on the stage, bring out the acts, you tell a few jokes. I do that all the time,
Courtney is quite the jokester, pulling a lot of his material from where else but the people on the bus.
I think another experience I had was I was on the number 15, and this woman came on the bus, and she didn't read the sign to say have exact fare ready, so she gets on the front of the bus, she gets her pocketbook, puts it right there. She was wearing a long wig. I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. You know those old buses, the ones with the fans on the front? Well, she leaned over too far like this, and the fan snatched her wig off. And so I had to go into character. I was like, oh my God, what happened? Yada, yada, yada.
The more I get out on stage and the more I do it, it's obvious that I'm supposed to do it. I can't get away from it because I get offers all the time to do stand-up.
And the last one I got to share with you, oh my God, just not too long ago, I used to be on the 14, I used to operate the 14 late at night, and this guy gets on the bus, he's like, excuse me, how much is the fare? I'm like, It's $1.60. And this guy tried to come up with a shopping cart from Giant Foods. I said, dude, I said, you can't bring that on board. He was like, oh, but I gotta do it. He said, can I put it on the bike rack? Can't do it.
The Maryland Transit Administration was recently presented a prestigious national award for its winning safety efforts. MTA Chief Safety Officer Bernadette Bridges will join us next to talk about this exciting honor and distinction. Stay with us. MTA takes safety on its transit services and on its properties very seriously. The agency's safety initiatives and efforts are working and are being recognized nationally by many in transit. In fact, MTA was just presented a prestigious award for rail safety by APTA, the American Public Transportation Association. This is something to really be proud of, and MTA Director of Safety Bernadette Bridges joins us with information on this great honor. Bernadette, welcome back to Commuter Connections.
Thank you, Anthony.
Okay. First of all, APTA, what is the organization specifically?
APTA is the American Public Transit Association. It is a lobbying group for transit around the country. They lobby for legislation and initiatives, safety compliance. They have several groups, just like an organization in MTA is. They have various departments that they look at research and resources, whether it's related to safety, HR practices, succession planning, legislation, rules, policies, procedures. So they're a very large organization.
And then there's a safety division, and the MTA was just recently recognized by that division. What was the award?
The award was the APTA Safety Gold Award for rail safety, which we were awarded. It's a national award. Many transit properties around the country actually put in to receive that award, so we were glad to actually be honored to receive that award. It is an award for best practices in the transit agency. Our safety award was given to us for our safety rules compliance program. We have a program where we actually go out into the field and we actually audit our practices to see if our operators and employees are actually doing what they're supposed to do and what they're trained to do. And then we take this data and we put it into a system and we manage it and monitor it and analyze it. And if we see that we're having repeated offenses or we see that we're having a large non-compliance, we're able to see where we have some gaps and holes at, and we can actually fix that. We can retrain people. We can change our rules and procedures. So it's been a great program for us. And then it's a program we feel like could be transferable to all of our modes, not just rail, bus, mobility, or even to the industry. It's transferable. And APTA said that they'd like it to be transferable. When you put it in, it had to be innovative, and you had to have statistics. And we had everything, and we won the award.
That's great. And you referenced APTA again. So this was a big deal in the transportation industry.
Oh, yes. Every safety director wants to win this award. Every transit property wants to win the gold award. And so actually for the rail section, this is actually only the second award that they gave out. So we actually won, early in, the design of the program for rail. We won for bus last year.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And I appreciated all the detail you gave because it's a meaty program, for lack of a better word. There are a lot of components that go toward receiving the award, but they're real tangible items to make the system safer.
Yes, it is. And the good thing about it is that all departments that are included, we have our training department, our operations group, our safety group, and so collectively together we're able to ensure that we have a great program because we're talking to one another, we're working together, and it makes it a better program.
Overall, how important is safety to the MTA?
Safety is very important to the MTA, and for example, when we build new facilities, when we build new systems, like for example, we have the Purple Line that's going on. I mean, what MTA does, they look at safety from the beginning, the planning and design stages of a project. They actually look at how can we eliminate hazards early on, even before we build the project, and then through the phases of the project. And then we look at our rules and procedures annually. We develop rules and procedures and tips for our customers to use so that they can use our system safely. So it's very important for our customers and our employees. And so we start from the inside out so that we can make sure we have a better and a safer system.
You're covering a lot of bases here. You mentioned the customers. So MTA customers also have a role in ensuring or making sure the MTA is compliant with safety and helping the agency.
Yes, we feel like they have a responsibility when they ride our service to follow our rules just as well. I always say that make sure that you're on time because passengers rush when they're late. So if they can just get a schedule, go online, look at our website, get a schedule, be on time so they're not running for a bus, they're not pushed and harried. They can take their time and the bus is on time and they can get there and they can get on safely. So it's important. And if they see something, to say something, we have that program in place. And that's more security and life safety, but all of it's safety. So if they see something, they need to report it to us. It's important that we know that we can fix it.
I had a question here about the size of the safety office. How many people make up the safety office?
We have approximately 50 people in our safety office. They're broken up into 2 divisions. We have a marked safety officer, light rail, metro, bus, and paratransit. Then we also have a third-party claims group. We have environmental compliance. So we're even looking at our system environmentally for disposal of equipment, whether it's a rail car, whether it's our facility, whether we tear down something and dispose of it, if we haul something away. So our environmental group does that. And then we have emergency preparedness and Homeland Security grant initiatives.
Wow, a lot going on. The employees, I imagine, have certain safety checks for the equipment and certain mechanisms if they have a safety concern. What about the customers? If you're riding the system and you see something, how do you say something? How do you get a message to the MTA about a safety concern?
You can call 410-539-5000. There's also a police hotline number that's on our website. It's a 1-800 number. They can call directly and it can be transferred. You can let your bus operator, your train operator, your station attendant know, or anybody that you see in an MTA uniform, just make them aware and we can make sure that we take care of your safety issue. But the important thing is that you have to report it to us. So if we don't see it and you see it, you need to let us know.
And I think and I can close that's that campaign you reference, see something, say something.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Which I believe is a national.
It's a national program, yes it is.
Okay, focused on security and safety.
Yes.
Okay.
Security and safety, yes.
All right, Bernadette, congratulations on the award.
Thank you.
Keep doing great things in the safety office.
Thank you.
Okay. As you might imagine, there are many disciplines and areas of interest often necessary to keep a large organization operating. MTA is an example of this. It has mechanics, a police force, a broadcast division which produces this show, and would you believe, a real estate division. Yes, a group that deals specifically with real estate. On this edition of the show, we introduce you to this group and their contribution to transit.
Did you know that the Maryland Transit Administration has a real estate division? With an office of only 7 dedicated individuals, the real estate division plays an essential role in the expansion of the MTA.
The mission of the MTA Real Estate Division is twofold. One is on the property acquisition side, where we acquire property to support the capital program. The second is the property management point of view, where we generate revenue for the state of Maryland by dealing with outside vendors that want to use MTA property. We get the actual properties from the designers. The engineers design the actual project. They take a look at what is the best path for the actual project, and then they come to us and say, we need you to buy this specific property for the overall project. We actually go out and appraise that particular property, see what the fair market value is. And then we go through some other checks and balances where we have a review division that tells us what the actual dollar figure is that we should offer to the property owner.
MTA's real estate division is constantly working hard to help the MTA continue to grow. The team handles acquiring property for large-scale projects throughout the state of Maryland, including the much-anticipated Purple Line.
A project that the MTA Real Estate Division might have is the Purple Line project, which is running from New Carrollton to Bethesda in Montgomery and Prince George's County. Essentially, we'll get a plat from the design team, and we'll go out and appraise the particular property, and then we'll make an offer to the property owner to buy it. If there's amicable negotiations, we'll settle in a short period of time. And we have about 500 properties that we need to acquire for the Purple Line project. Some other projects that the viewers may be familiar with that MTA Real Estate had a large hand in is the Baltimore Central Light Rail System and also the Baltimore Metro System. This department in the past acquired all the property for both of those projects. So we acquired the property first, and then the construction division came in and built the rails and the ties and things of that nature, platforms, stations, things like that. But we came in first and actually bought the property before the project was under construction.
Without the hard work of the real estate division, we wouldn't have the locations or systems we have today. They truly are one of the MTA's unsung heroes.
Coming up, we'll meet a champion, not from boxing or some other sport, but the champion of the MTA's rail division. That's next. There are many champions in history. Of course, our Baltimore Ravens in 2012, Muhammad Ali in the world of boxing, and Venus and Serena Williams in tennis. But MTA has its very own champion, a rodeo champion in its rail division, a distinction and honor recently earned by MTA light rail operator Dennis Burton, who joins us today to talk about his competing in the MTA 2015 rodeo and, of course, his win. Mr. Burton, welcome to Commuter Connections.
Thank you, glad to be here, thank you.
All right, so a rail rodeo, what's involved in a rail rodeo?
The rail rodeo consists of actually your regular job routine. They have certain qualifications that you have to do in order for the test. They test you for your uniform. They give you a written test. They give you what they call a customer service test. They do train inspection. They also do what they call in-yard making movement in the yard, like setting your tracks to make a move in the yard.
Okay, and that's the actual driving
yes,
of the vehicles.
Of the vehicle, right.
Okay, and so this is an annual competition held in April, and you have to win locally to go to the nationals?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay, and the locals were held we're here in the Baltimore area.
Al's was held at which division that I work in is light rail division on North Avenue.
Okay, so you won there and then headed to where for the national competition?
I was lucky to be sent to Salt Lake, Utah for the nationals.
Okay, and what was that experience like?
Oh, it was nice. It was real nice. You got to see different people in different uniforms and different equipment.
Oh, okay, good. Meet a lot of different people. Now,
yes,
was this your first time participating in the rail
my first
rodeo?
Time. Yes, sir.
Oh, so you won the first time out of the gate?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. All right, that's great. Now, what's the object of the competition? What's it all about?
Well, the competition itself it's just a competition. It was real competitive. You got to see different environments, work with a lot of different equipment, work with a lot of different people. And it was real interesting.
Because I think when you think about a light rail driver, to the layperson, it's sort of like, well, you're just driving down a track and stopping at particular stops, but it's a lot of skill involved.
Exactly, yes, sir. It really is. It's a lot of concentration involved. You have to make announcements, and you just have to be aware of your surroundings.
And I think you said it's a part of the competition too. It's a customer service aspect to it
Exactly.
also, because you're interacting with the customers.
Yes, sir.
Now, what do you receive as a winner? We see this nice trophy here. All right, so what else do you receive as the winner?
I got a plaque, and like I said, I was fortunate to make the trip to Salt Lake, Utah.
So 29 years with the MTA.
Yes, sir.
All right, so of course you didn't start, or did you start with rail or did you start with bus?
No, sir, I started with an MTA bus.
Okay, and did that for how long?
For 18 years.
And then to the rail system?
Then I went to mobility for 8 years.
All right.
The rest of my time I've been here.
All right,
with light rail.
That's great. Hey, I was gonna ask, what do you enjoy most? Did you enjoy bus, or do you enjoy the rail side? What do you enjoy most?
I think by far I enjoy my job that I'm doing now.
Now, I gotta ask this question. Now, where did you place in the Nationals?
I didn't do too good in the Nationals.
But you were there.
I was there.
You were there.
It was a good experience, and I learned some things to make me a better operator here in my own state. So it was well worth it.
All right, that's good. So, because do you do it again? But once you win, can you trial for it every year?
Yes, sir. Long as you fit that criteria that allows you to become a participant.
Okay.
Yes, sir. You can.
All right, good. So you'll win here locally next year.
Hopefully.
And then you'll place higher in the National.
The next time I'll be ready.
All right, good. So 29 years with the MTA. So you've seen a lot of changes with the agency. We had the MTA administrator here earlier today, and he talked about the pride or appreciation for MTA employees, and you're obviously one of those dedicated employees, and you enjoy it, you say?
Yes, sir, I do. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so thanks for joining us.
The pleasure's all mine, and thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the end of another Commuter Connections program. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Take care.